Hey guys, it's Amanda here. I told you guys that I would vlog post-op, and that's my dog on my pillow. I am now, let's see, I had the operation on Friday, so Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. I'm 4 days post-op. I had my breast reduction on Friday, and I was just going to tell you guys my entire experience. As you know from watching my other videos, I was a 32 triple D, which converts to a 32F size cup. I was 115 pounds, still am 115 pounds, a little less. 115 pounds and 5 foot tall, for those of you who didn't watch my previous videos. I'm now 4 days post-op, and I'm going to tell you guys all about what happened, beginning to end, as much as I can remember. Let's see. On Friday, my operation was scheduled. The day before, I did have to go into the hospital for blood work. They took some blood from my arm and a urine test, but everything turned out okay with that, so it was all good for the operation. The next day, I woke up, and I had to get up really, really early. I had to get up at 5:30 because I wanted to be out of the house by 6 to make it to the hospital by 6:30. The morning of the surgery, I had to wash with an antibacterial, an antibacterial soap. I chose Cetaphil antibacterial soap just because I trust the brand, but they don't really care. They have their own little recommended soap, but I didn't. I just chose any old antibacterial soap, and you actually might want to keep it around for a few days because I've been using it a lot to shower, just because, I don't want any infections or anything. So I got there at the hospital after washing, especially around my breast, with the antibacterial soap. My boyfriend got to my house, and me and my parents and my boyfriend all drove to the hospital. I got to the hospital and I checked in, and then I had to do a registration process, and they made me take off all my jewelry, anklets included, everything. I was completely, the lady said, as God made you. So I wasn't wearing anything except for clothes. And they put me in a room, and they gave me a gown and some socks in a pre-op bed. And my nurse was very nice. Her name was Asha, A-S-H-A. Don't know why that's important. I'm still on meds, so if I say stuff that's totally not relevant, please excuse me. But she put in an IV for me on this hand. I still have a small boo-boo right there. An IV with one of those flexible tubey things, which gave me fluids. I sat there for a while. My anesthesiologist came to see me. They asked me a lot about allergies, which I do have allergies, and that's very important that you tell them all the allergies that you know of, even if you don't think they're relevant. Sometimes they ask for food allergies. For example, I'm allergic to spicy peppers, but I was never given any spicy peppers, and penicillin I'm also allergic to, so I wasn't allowed to have any kind of penicillin. I waited after, a bunch of interviews and stuff, and just keeping my body temperature really warm. They want you really warm. They put on an oxygen thing on your finger. Pretty much you sit there for a while just waiting for the doctor to come. There were some points where my boyfriend, my mom, and my dad were all in the pre-op room with me, and there were other times where it was just my mother. Eventually the doctor came. It was around 8:15 when he showed up, and he came and he did my markings. He made me stand up against the wall, and he took pictures of me front ways, sideways, and at an angle, and completely naked from the chest down. From the chest up. The waist up, excuse me, I'm so sorry. The waist up. And he took a lot of pictures, I think a lot of pictures. 6 pictures, I think. And then he did his markings. And I had to be completely still when he was doing his markings, and I had to stand with my shoulders back and be completely still, which was really hard because my mother was making me laugh because she was making fun of my doctor's drawings, saying that he was trying to be Picasso and that I look so weird. It's just a lot of markings. They find the center of your body, the other center of your body, the center of this boob, the center of this boob, and draw where they think the nipples should be and where your boobs are then, and a lot of that. After he did that, I put my gown back on. I had to wait maybe another 5 minutes, and then some other people came to get me to wheel me into the operation room. I saw my dad and my boyfriend and my mother for the last time. They left. They all kissed me and said that they loved me, and they left, and they shot something in my IV that made me relax. Relax is an understatement. It made me all woozy in the head. I had no idea what was going on. The lady was like, "Tell me when you feel it," and I was like this. Oh my God, I feel it. And I leaned back. I remember them wheeling me into the operation room. I remember them helping me onto the operation bed, lying back, and nothing else. Apparently, they told me when they were putting me to sleep, and they put an oxygen mask on me, all while I was still awake. I have no recollection of this at all. I was completely out of it. That relaxing stuff really makes you forget what's going on. So I don't have any kind of recollection of them putting me to sleep at all. I just forgot. My mom pretty much told me what happened in there, that our memorial system actually has this, I don't know if I still have the card, I do, has this paperless thing so they know where you are. And they gave my family this card, and it says, checked in, if I've checked in, like where I am in the process, pre-procedure, procedure and process, post-procedure, completed and out of department, or canceled. Apparently I was in procedure and process for a good almost 2 hours. And then when they got me out and they put me in post-op recovery, I had a nurse who I do not remember. I do remember her. I do remember laying back. And for anyone who's doing breast reduction, I'm just warning that you're going to wake up with a lot of pain. They tell you on a scale of 1 to 10, what's your pain level? I was a 9 when I got out. I was in a ton of pain, but also the anesthesia was like really still knocking me on my butt. And I was just waking up when they were asking me this. So it was like a 9. She's like, okay, I'm going to give you some morphine. So they gave me some morphine. 2 minutes later, they came in and asked me how my pain level was. I had only gone down to an 8. I was still in a lot of pain. And I think she gave me 5 shots of morphine before I was down to a 5, and then it wasn't getting any better at all. And she's like, okay, I'm going to give you a button, morphine button. So I was like, great, okay, let's do that. After she gave me the morphine button, I was finally starting to wake up. They had asked me 15 minutes before whether I wanted my family to come in yet, and I said no, just because I was still trying to figure out what was going on. The anesthesia was still, I was still really not really sure where I was. I was trying to get my bearings straight before my family came in. So then my family came in. I had the button thing, which the button, it's only every 10 minutes you can push it, and if you try and push it in between there, it'll go beep, 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 meaning you can't receive any morphine. So then my family came in. I was still pretty out of it. I had a nurse that I do not remember. She was a redhead, I hear. And then she went home, and then I got another nurse, Danielle, who I have to send a card to in the hospital because she was so nice to me. After I received my morphine drip, my boyfriend and my father and mother all came in. My mother sat with me the entire time, but my father ended up going home to work just because I was out of recovery. There was no need for him to be there. And my boyfriend, my father, I heard later, offered to take my boyfriend out to lunch, and my boyfriend's like, yeah, I'll just wait in the waiting room. I don't want to leave. Because I was in a lot of pain. And I mean, it feels. You can feel. Your boobs hurt. It wasn't like I have a very high tolerance to pain, so it wasn't like screaming my head off, but it hurt a lot. So my mother sat with me. I slept a lot. I also dreamt a lot. I dreamt a lot, and sometimes I woke up and said things, apparently, to my mother. I thought they were giving me a blood transfusion at one point, and I asked my mother why they were giving me a blood transfusion. I thought someone came in and asked me all these questions, and I was having this conversation with this person in front of me that wasn't there. Anyway, my mother ended up sitting with me for like an hour and a half, and when she came in, I was like, Mom! And I wasn't crying, but I was really happy to see her. And she sat there and held my hand for a while. Every once in a while, I'd wake up, and if my pain level was bad, I'd push my button, my morphine would come. And apparently, sometimes I'd wake up in between there and push it, and it'd go beep, 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 and I go, oh, damn. And then it'd go beep, beep, beep. And then when it didn't go beep, 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 and it came, I'd go, yay! I have no recollection of this at all. But then after that, my mother called my boyfriend and said that he could come in. So I had my mother on this side of me holding this hand, and my IV was in this hand. My boyfriend was holding this hand. I still slept a lot. I remember my nurse, Danielle, being really nice to me. I want to send her a card and some flowers because she was just so nice to me. And I loved her. She was great. She was so happy for me. I don't really remember. I remember talking to her sometimes, and I remember her being really nice to me, but I don't really remember. Apparently, we had a lot more conversation than I remember. Anesthesia really knocks you on your butt. I did have a tube down my throat, so they did give me some ice chips. So when I'd wake up, I'd turn to my mom and go, ice, and she'd give me ice. And then my boyfriend sat with me. Apparently he talked to me. My mother and boyfriend both talked to me at some point. I don't really remember too much. I remember there was this lady in the room next to me who was a complete and total, like, crazy lady. I was going to say bitch. Sorry. She was crazy. She was talking so freaking loud in a operation recovery room. And my mother was getting so annoyed when they finally came into whoever was in there and said, like, she wasn't the patient. She was like the mother or something. Came in and said that they were going to transfer her to my room. My mom was like, oh my God, thank God. Because she was just so loud and I was trying to sleep. I still slept a lot. I was at an incline like this for the swelling. I'm a side sleeper, but I still slept a lot. I think it was a good 2.5 hours before they let me off and out of the recovery room. I started feeling a little bit nauseous, and I asked my nurse Danielle if I could have something, and she gave me Zofran. So then they took me, some transport people took me, and I had to go a different way than my mother and boyfriend could. So my mother and boyfriend basically ran up to my room. I was on the 5th floor, and ran up to my room and was in there, and I was being transported. I remember being pretty much okay up until when I got into the elevator. My stomach started getting really upset. And I had just taken medication for that. I'm sorry, I just took a pain pill, so I'm a little woozy. And when I started getting really nauseous. As they were wheeling me down the hallway on the 5th floor to my room, I was like, I think I'm going to throw up. So some lady ran to get me a few barf bags. And they put me in the room, and I was like, I'm going to throw up. I'm going to throw up. I didn't, but they stopped moving me immediately. And I sat there for, I think, 5 minutes, and I was like, okay, I think I'm okay now. So when the nausea had passed, they transferred me to the wheelie bed into a hospital bed, a more comfortable bed. Apparently during this time, they kicked my mother and boyfriend out of the room. I don't remember this, but I remember being pissed when I found out afterwards that they had kicked them, because I really wanted my mother to help me and boyfriend, because they would have gently done it. I still got in okay, but I was in pain, and my mother really wanted to help me, but, you know, they're just doing their jobs. So after that, I was still in an incline, but I had a button to push my bed up and down. The TV was on, my boyfriend was there, my mother was there, and my father had come back at that point because we lived 5 minutes away from the hospital. My boyfriend was on this side of my bed, my mother and my father were all standing around, and I was fine. They stayed for like 20 minutes. I was completely okay. I had my barf bags at this point. And then my father and my mother said that they were going to go get something to eat, and Sean, my boyfriend, was still with me. My mother would never let me if someone else wasn't there. And I remember wanting to sit up further because I was at an incline and my neck was starting to hurt. Because basically I'd sleep like this and just turn my head, and my neck was starting to hurt. So I wanted to go up a little more, and then I had to pee. So I was like, Sean, I want to get up. As I took his hand to help me pull up, I'll tell you more about that later, but that's the hardest position to get up in when you have a breast reduction, is when you're leaning back. It's really hard to get up. I'm better now, but I took his hand to help pull me up, and as I'm sitting up, this wave of nausea hit me, and I started throwing up. I threw up a little, but otherwise I didn't have anything in my stomach. I threw up a lot of bile, and my mother and father just walked back into the room at this point. My boyfriend was holding my hair back and holding the barf back to my mouth and rubbing my back. I don't know what I would have done without him. I've never understood, like, any guy would. I mean, how many guys would sit there holding your hair back while you barfed into a barf bag because you were so nauseous? My mother came in at this point. Her hands were freezing, so she put her hands on the back of my neck and on my back and on my forehead. I was sweating like crazy when I was throwing up. And I was really, really hot. My mom was like, you're okay, because I am terrified of throwing up. I hate it. I'm such a pussy when it comes to throwing up. I'm so terrified of it. And after I'd finished throwing up, I was like, and I was starting to cry. And my boyfriend was there, and he had a tissue, and he was rubbing my eyes, wiping away my tears. And my mom was like, you're okay. After I was done throwing up, my boyfriend and mother helped me get up, and the nurse, because I really had to pee. And I get into the bathroom and try some. I had to pee, and I knew that I had to pee, but I couldn't. I could not go to the bathroom. I sat in the toilet for like 10 minutes before I gave up. I couldn't pee. And then I sat back down. From that point on, for the next 5 or 6 hours or so, I threw up. Every time I got from the ankle position up, I threw up, or dry heaved. The dry heaving was the worst part. I dry heaved a lot because I didn't have any. I think I went through like 7 or 8 barf bags. It was pretty bad. I still slept a lot. At one point I did wake up, but I was just sitting there with my eyes closed. My boyfriend was holding my hand and telling me about certain things going on, but I don't really remember. I remember every time I had to go to the bathroom, and the second time I tried to go to the bathroom, I did go, which was a couple hours later. I did end up going to the bathroom. And I went, and every time I got up, I threw up. It was awful. So they came back and gave me some something stuff, which was also to help make me stop throwing up. That worked for a little while, and then it didn't. But in between that stuff working, my boyfriend and father ended up leaving. It was around 9 o'clock at night at this time. I didn't want my mother to leave me yet because I was still throwing up a little. So my mother stayed, and she was going to stay till around 11. And then my boyfriend left and went back to Boca because that's where he lives. And then my father went back to the house. Around 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock, my nausea had come back, and I was having to pee. I would pee. I would get back into bed. 2 minutes later, literally, I'd have to get up and pee again. Sometimes it would be an hour. Sometimes it would be a minute in between. And I was attached to all these tubes. I had compression socks on both my legs. Excuse me. I had an oxygen on this finger. I had another pulse reader on this. I had a cuff on this hand, and I had an IV on this hand. And the IV was over on this side, so I had tubes going across me. Every time I had to get up to pee, I had to detach myself from all these tubes. And I needed my mother to help me to get to the bathroom because sometimes I would be sleeping, I'd wake up, and I'd have to go right then. If I didn't go, I was going to pee in the bed because the anesthesia was flushing out of me. And I was still throwing up pretty bad. As around 12 o'clock, they give me something else. 12 o'clock a.m. They gave me something else, which finally stopped the barfing, which was really nice. And around 1 o'clock in the morning, it kicked in, and I could finally, for the first time, get up, go to the bathroom without throwing up. My mother ended up deciding that she was going to stay the night at that point just because I needed a lot of help getting up because I was still attached to all these tubes and I had to detach myself from everything except the IV when had to go to the bathroom. Finally, I stopped throwing up, which was really, really nice. It was around 4 o'clock in the morning, I think, when I finally started I stopped throwing up around 2, but around 4, I was still feeling really weak just getting up. Around 4 o'clock in the morning, I was getting up and not feeling weak and able to go to the bathroom and pee without feeling weak, and I was not on pain meds. I had stopped pushing my button because they told me that the morphine and the anesthesia combination was what was causing me to throw up. I hadn't had any pain meds when I stopped pushing the button in the recovery room at 2 o'clock the afternoon before. I had not had any pain meds. I wasn't in pain either. I wasn't in pain at all. I guess the morphine had built up in my system. Around 5, I think, was the last time I got up, and then I slept till around 7. I flushed my body completely out from all the fluids. And then at 7, I had to get up and pee again. So I got up and peed again, and I was feeling pretty disgusting. My pain level was around a 5, and I needed to brush my teeth. And I knew I stunk because I'd thrown up. I'm sure my breath stunk because from throwing up. And anyway, long story short, I woke up at 7, I turned on the TV, I was watching a little bit of TV, I was feeling a lot better. I got up to go to the bathroom still a lot because they had me in fluids. I went through, I think, 3 bags of fluids. Apparently I'm good with fluids. Nurses were happy with me that my body was accepting all these fluids. And but the fluids make you pee like crazy. I peed a lot. I peed a lot. That I'm so thankful that the nurses gave me that medication that caused me not to throw up. And around 8 o'clock, my father came back. My doctor was scheduled to come in and see me around 10:30. At that point, I was starting to get pain back on a lot of it. So I called my nurse, and I said I wanted pain meds, but I didn't want to take the morphine. She's like, well, you have to eat breakfast first. So they came and they brought me breakfast. I had some breakfast. It was sausage, eggs, toast, and buttered grits with some coffee. It was really, really good. I had some eggs, a piece of toast, a couple pieces of sausage, and a couple bites of grits. My appetite was really, really down. I would have eaten that full plate of food otherwise, but I did not. I had maybe about a quarter of the plate of food. And my mother had the grits. I love grits, but my mother wanted breakfast, and they didn't. I like cheese grits. My mother likes just buttered grits, so she had the buttered grits, or else she was gonna go to get breakfast. And after I ate, around an hour and a half later, it was like 10. I asked her for pain meds. She gave me pills. I have the same pills I'm taking now. They're called Endocet. They're a combination of oxycodone and acetaminophen, and they're pretty strong. My pain level was about an 8 then. I was in a lot of pain. And she gave me 2. Around an hour later, I was feeling pretty good, and I got up to walk around a lot. I went for a walk around with my father. He pushed my IV thing because it wasn't working. The wheels weren't working too well. And I still needed to be attached to it. So I pulled in, he pushed in. I went for a walk around the department to get my blood flowing again. And I did that a couple of times. While I was doing that, the second time around, my doctor said, make your nearest U-turn to go back to the room. So I went back to my room. He took off my shirt. I was wearing a bra. It was called a compression bra. It's very, very similar to a sports bra. It's exactly what it is. It's a sports bra with Velcro. That's it. And I looked at my boobs a couple of times. during the night when I wasn't barfing my head off. My boobs looked really, really good. But when he finally took off the gauze, I could finally see them. I was standing up. He took it off. I was oozing a little bit from my left breast, but my right breast wasn't oozing at all, which he was really, really pleased with. And so then he said that they look pretty good. He gave me pain pills. He said take 2 if your pain is like a 7 or an 8 or a 9 or a 10, and only take 1 if it's any below that, or you can even take a half later on when I'm not feeling in so much pain. And so, oh, sorry, I had to change positions and get some tea. Sorry. So after he came and see me, I was watching a movie afterwards for a little while. I had to wait for the people to discharge me. She gave me a note for school because I didn't know if I was going to make it to school this week. And yeah, that was basically it. They discharged me. As I got up out of the bed, the pain pills really started to kick in, and I was going to walk downstairs, but I was feeling like I was going to fall over. So they took me in the wheelchair. I had put on normal clothes at this time. My boobs were seemingly smaller, so much smaller. They looked really, really good. I was really, really pleased. There were scars, obviously, but and stitches, but that's totally, totally normal. And but they look really good. They were smaller already. There was a little swelling, but I could already tell. I could see. And I felt lighter. My back feels lighter. It felt lighter already. I was really pleased with the results. I got dressed in my normal clothes. I had brought in a button-down shirt with me and a pair of really soft exercise pants that are really loose on me so I could move around. I was wearing a pair of flip-flops, so I put all that back on. I was sitting in bed, and she came and get me in the wheelchair, and they rolled me down. My daddy went to go get the car, and I went home. The car ride home was the hardest thing. I had brought a pillow with me, and I was holding the pillow to my chest like this, but every bump was torture. It was pretty painful, every single bump. But other than that, they got me home, and I remember wanting to take a shower. The pain meds had kicked in. I was kind of woozy like I am now, but the pain med had kicked in. So, oh, I'm sorry. I'm so like, and my mom was going to help me take a shower. I wanted to see my boobs. So when I got home, I was going to sleep downstairs because I didn't know if I was going to be able to walk up the stairs. I went downstairs. I put all my stuff in the guest bedroom downstairs. My boyfriend hadn't come over yet, but I really wanted to take a shower. So I needed my mom to help me take a shower. They gave me 2 pain pills. I had no idea what was going on. My brain gets really fuzzy on these pain pills. But I really wanted to shower. So I got into my mother's bathroom. I was going to shower with her. She got me the Cetaphil, the Cetaphil stuff, the antibacterial. And I hopped in the shower. When I took my bra off, the boobs look really good. I'm going to show you guys later what they look like. But anyway, sorry, my pain pill's kicking in really bad now. I'm trying to stay concentrated, but it's really hard, so I'm really sorry. I took a shower with the Cetaphil. Taking my bra off was really, really hard. I felt like my boobs were going to like fall apart if I took my bra off, but I really wanted to take a shower. So I took one in my mom's bathroom. She came in with me, and she was washing me, and I was really afraid to touch my boobs, but I did it. I stood with my back to the thing, and I had a hair thing on to keep my hair dry. And I remember it hitting and saying, oh no, I don't want to get my hair wet, but I didn't really care. And the water was kind of just going over my shoulders and down my boobs. It didn't hurt at all. It felt weird because I felt like my boobs were going to like just fall off if I didn't have my bra on. which my mother said was normal. That my doctor apparently said that if I was scared to take my bra off, that was normal. I don't remember that. Anyway, what happened after that? I took a shower, I dried myself off, I replaced my gauze, and I put on my bra again. And I put on these pajamas. These are button-down pajamas that I got at Walmart for like $10. They have little Eeyores on them. Aren't they cute? And I took a shower, I got dressed, and as I was walking downstairs, the doorbell rang. My boyfriend was finally here. Yay! And I got in the guest bedroom, and he was just sitting there with me a lot. I did manage to sleep on my side. I turn on my side, but I sleep with my hand like up and under my pillow. And I couldn't do that. I couldn't lift my arms above. So I was on my side, but I had a pillow holding it to my body like this. And that's how I've been sleeping normally, on my side, but holding a pillow. I have to be holding a pillow. And I slept for like 4 hours, I think. There were some points I woke up and my boyfriend had to help me get to the bathroom. I still peed a lot. Apparently I peed 4 times within those 4 hours I was sleeping. I don't really remember too much about it, but he helped me up a lot. My mother was sleeping because she was up all night with me, and my father was sleeping because he was just tired, even though he had slept most of the night. But he had to come home to take care of my dog and stuff. So that was why he had left, because she needed to be fed and stuff. My mother was all night. They were upstairs. We were sleeping. My boyfriend was there. He was staying awake. Sometimes I would wake up and he slept a little, my boyfriend, and I would squeeze his hand and say, I have to go to the bathroom, and he would help me into the bathroom. And there were some points where I was like, I want to get up, and I would sit up in an inclined position and say, oh, okay, I'm up now, but then fall asleep like 5 minutes later. I was like that for like a couple of hours, sleeping a lot. Then my mother came in, and my boyfriend was still there. Apparently my father came in at some point during that time and asked, if I was asleep. My boyfriend said she's out. And I don't really remember too much about it. But my mother came in. She said, the Preakness is on. Do you want to watch it? And I was like, yeah. And I lost my voice. And me and my family really enjoy the horse races when they come on. So my mother held me out of bed. I was still wearing my pajamas. And I was sitting... Hello? I was sitting right here on the couch, like this, right now, and I was leaning back, and my boyfriend was there, and I was kind of leaning on him. And we watched the game, and I was getting more awake by this time. I remember getting really excited because I'll Have Another had just won the Preakness again. And the guy who was commentating was getting really excited, so I was laughing apparently at that. And I got pretty excited and upbeat, and then we decided we were going to order food. I didn't want pasta. I wanted pizza, so my mom and dad ordered pasta dishes. My mom actually ordered eggplant. My dad ordered veal, and I asked my boyfriend, do you want to split a pizza? So we got a pizza, and I got a cup of soup because I love the soup that they have. So my father went to go and pick it up, and wow, this video is super long, but I'm just going to keep going. And I ate a little. I had half a slice of pizza. My boyfriend cut it in half, and then I had almost a full cup of soup. As I was sitting there, I hadn't taken any more pain pills, but I started going like this, and I felt like it was gonna fall off the chair, so I was like, I think I need to go lay down. So I came over here and laid down on the couch. My boyfriend and my mother and father were having a conversation over there, and I was laying down. I wasn't sleeping, but I was laying down. We watched an episode of Glee after that, and my boyfriend left around 9 o'clock. I was really emotional for some reason. When he left, I cried a lot. I don't know why, but I cried when he left, and I was still in a lot of pain, but I didn't want to take too many pain pills. So I was crying, and he's like, why are you crying? I was like, I don't know, I just don't want to leave. But I needed my rest, and it was like 9 o'clock at this point. So I done that. I went to my mother's room one more time. I replaced my gauze, and then she helped me get into bed. I went in the bathroom and then I got into bed. Sleeping the first night wasn't hard. I slept through the night in the same way with the pillow hugged to me, sleeping on my side, but with the pillow hugged to me. And I slept through the night. When I woke up, the pain was pretty bad. I was like a 9 again. And I was like, it was like 8 o'clock because I had gone to bed at 9. So I had slept almost 11 hours. And I was like, Mom! And I couldn't get up. And she was like, she came in and she's like, okay, I'm going to make you some toast. She made me some toast and then he took my pain pill. After that, I was pretty much okay. The whole day of Sunday, I sat on the couch the entire time. My best friend Sam came over for a little while and she brought me a balloon and some flowers. My boyfriend brought me a lot of balloon and flowers too. And get well cards. And she sat with me for, I think she was here for like an hour and a half, 2 hours. And then I sat with my mother for a while. I took a nap for a little bit because of pain pill. And then I changed my gauze a lot. Then yesterday was the toughest day. I decided that I felt well enough to go back to school, and I didn't really want to miss any school if I didn't have to. So I went to school, and that was hard. My boyfriend came to pick me up because my mom and dad both work. So my boyfriend came to get me. We drove all the way south. I was pretty out of it because of the pain pills. Driving was still really hard. I took a pillow with me, but driving was still really hard. Every bump hurt. I made it through a whole 3-hour class without any pain pills. I sat in the back just because I didn't really want to be bothered. I just wanted to sit there and listen. And I sat there and I listened. And I got out. I didn't take a pain pill. When I got out and I got up and I started walking, I felt really faint. And I felt like I was going to pass out. So my boyfriend sat me down and I stayed there for a while. Then we got back in the car. The pain pill at this point had set in. I had this pillow with me. Apparently I fell asleep for the whole ride home. And my school's like 40 minutes away from my house. I fell asleep for the entire ride home. And my boyfriend woke me up and we went to CVS because it had been 3 days and I was a little constipated, and my doctor told me that if I didn't need to be constipated, that I had to go. And if I didn't go, to use a stool softener. So I did, and I had to go to CVS to go to stool softener. First I went and I was so out of it, I got a suppository, and I said I wasn't sticking anything on my butt to my boyfriend. And so we went back, and then I got laxative. My mother said, that's too strong, you just need a stool softener. And so then I went back another time. I got some prunes and a stool softener. I took 2 stool softeners, and I ate a couple of prunes, like 4 prunes. I don't really like prunes, but I ate like 4 prunes. My boyfriend was here. I had some dinner. My appetite's gone down immensely. I don't really eat too much anymore. I don't know. I'm just not eating. And, but I'm going to show you my boobs now. That's what's happened up to today. I don't have class today, so I'm not going anywhere. I've taken all but 1 pain pill 2 times yesterday. One dose at 2 totally different times. And the last time I took one was at 2 o'clock in the afternoon yesterday. And I didn't take one all night until this morning, and even then I only took a half a pain pill, but it's still pretty strong. But my pain is good, but I'm a little woozy, so I'm going to show you my boobs, okay? To watch you can watch my previous videos to see what my boobs look like. I'm just going to show you with the bra on. Okay. Here we go. I'm a little bloated, so I'm sorry, but these are my boobs now. I think I may still have marks from where my other boobs were, but I took a shower, so. Okay, yeah, these lines right here were where my boobs used to hang. So right here were where my boobs used to hang. They look the same from here, but when I turn to the side, they are much, much smaller. I'm a C now, but that's pretty much what's happened so far. I know I told a lot of people that I was going to tell what had happened from the beginning to the end. So that's what happened from the beginning to the end. I'm really sorry that it was really, really long. But I'm I'm really happy with the results. At first they were really, really bruised, but 4 days later they are mostly yellow now, and that's a really, really good sign that I'm healing really well. I'm eating a lot of veggies and fruits and proteins, and I had some pasta, but I'm mostly eating vegetables and proteins. Um, and a lot of hot tea and toast mainly in the morning. But I'm really happy with the results. I love my new boobs, even though they're bruised and they hurt. I love them. They're mostly yellow now, and that's a really, really good sign. My doctor said that they're already turning yellow after 4 days. It's incredible. He's happy with my progress. I have an appointment with him on Friday to get my stitches out, and I'm sorry for my bird, but that's it. She didn't tweet the whole time, and now she's got to start tweeting. But please comment below. I'd love to hear your comments and your questions. I want to help. If you have any questions at all, feel free to contact me. I've been taking pictures every day or every other day to do my progress on my boobs. This bra is getting smaller, is getting looser and looser on me, so the swelling's really going down. I'm really happy with the results. I'm just thrilled, and that's pretty much it. If you have any questions, please comment below. I really want to hear your questions, and thank you all so much for your support, your kindness, especially Anna Wood and Diane Gustafon. Sorry if I didn't get your names right. Sunny. I'm really sorry. She thinks I'm talking to her. But thank you for your support, Anna and Diana, and Diane. It's just Diane. And everybody who supported me during this time. Thanks to my boyfriend, my mother, my father, and everybody. But I'm so happy. Anyway, that's it. I'll see you guys later. Questions, comments, feel free. Okay, love you. Bye.